Hello and welcome to Scorecard here on Citi TV. I'm sure you're waiting for us at exactly 9 p.m. Some technical challenges meant that we couldn't come to you at the appointed time, but we'll try and make as much of we can of what the time is left. So there's an AFCON final currently happening. It's just about 78 minutes played or so between Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria. It's 1-1 as things stand now. We'll be getting into that in a little bit. Also, the third and fourth place playoff game happened yesterday. Bafana actually getting something for all their trouble in the competition. Also happening this week. Big game, Arsenal taking West Ham United to school. West Ham have beaten Arsenal twice already this season, so the Gunners absolutely wanted to win that particular game. Let's take a quick spin around. When we come back, I'll introduce my guests for the show, and we'll get talking. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. And as you can see, I'm in my hoodie today. It says the NISAC Athletics Festival. It's something that's coming to Citi TV soon. I'll be telling you a little bit about that a little later on in the show. Dennis Nyako and Sedinam Edmund, my guest to the studio. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Interesting weekend. Let's start off with the AFCON games. Let's start off with the third place playoff game. The game that I am typically not interested in. I'm not enthused about most of the time, but we must do it anyway. Yeah. I mean, it came to a head yesterday. Bafana did their thing, but how do you feel about the game itself in totality and the teams that played in it? Could they have gotten more if they had pushed themselves, or you thought this was their limit as far as the tournament is concerned?
I think I'm with you on this page. I'm also not a big believer in this third place games, because you see, normally in the semi-finals, you put in so much energy, and the motivation to win those games are extremely high. So the moment it comes, it bends out, then becomes a problem. But you see, the funny thing is that, you know, beyond the fact that you want to go to the final, you want to win the cup, you feel that, yes, you've gone this far. Why don't I end on the high? So I think that's the little motivation that comes out from these games, because you know, South Africa for themselves have gone beyond expectation. To be honest, watching how they have progressed in this particular tournament, you realize that they were not really expected to go that far. Sure. So for them, for the South Africans, I'm sure that they were looking at trying to win some, just to get, you know, the bronze, the third place, and finish on a high. Congo themselves felt like they had done they are pushed very far in this tournament. They've had some very good games. I was very impressed with how they managed some of the games. You know, how they played against Morocco and Egypt as well. So it's not been a bad tournament for them themselves, but I feel like they just wanted to also, you know, try and finish on the high as well. So the game actually showed. It's a game that both teams wanted to win. Yeah. But we see that the energy wasn't there as much compared to some of the games.
The game was very open,
very pretty open. Stuff. You know, it was very much open, unlike where you feel like there was something really to play for. So I feel that there was not so much energy. But at the same time, I felt, you know, the two teams wanted to win it, and that's what made that. That's how can you win that far. But at the end of the day, I think Williams came on top once again. He's saving 2 penalties. He's been quite impressive. So
you would have needed him to save penalties in the semis.
So, you know, I think he couldn't do well in the Nigerian fixture, but I think he came to save them once again. So I think he's deserving. I think if Congo had won it, I wouldn't have had a problem, because I think they had equally been impressive in the tournament. So it was a decent game. South Africa won. I think it's good for them. They came with less expectation. They played very well. So I think it wasn't a bad game. I think at the end of the day, they were able to win it.
Well, let's check out the highlights of that particular one. We have that one here for you. So let's get to the visuals of that particular game, the third place game between South Africa and DRC. I think after this tournament, we can safely call Roman Williams Mr. Penalties, because what is this? Absolutely doing his thing. 6 penalty saves. Nah, that's absolutely something else. But the big updates coming through is that Cote d'Ivoire have scored in the final. So it's 2-1 advantage the host nation. 2-1 Cote d'Ivoire lead in this particular encounter. Sebastian Haller getting on the score sheet once again. Sedi, let me bring you to the conversation. I don't know what your sentiments were coming into the final. I don't know who you had winning the final. Is it going according to plan so far?
So far, it's going according to plan. There are a lot of factors that played into it, but as it stands now, the scoreline 2-1 is going perfectly according to plan. Perfectly.
I mean, how have you felt about the Ivorians' campaign up to this point? Because I said that, look, if you have gone through the kind of fire they've gone through to get to the final, it's almost like it's written in the stars for you to win the competition, because with that kind of run, you are not supposed to get here.
Seriously, you see, football presents us with a lot of storylines. And this is one of them. From being scared that you're out of a competition and sacking your coach. You are just being scared. You thought you were out. You are not yet out. Hold on. Be out first. But you said no. You sack your coach. You bring in someone new. And then he now brings in some form of new culture. Yeah. Bringing in bits and pieces of the old. And then instating certain players to play pivotal roles in the team. Players who are old but are not washed. Yeah. Playing key parts of this team and helping propel them to where they've gotten to. For me, I think if they go on to win it, it's well deserved. And it would prove something that I have been saying all tournament, that Nigeria don't have strength in the middle. People have come for me several times for saying this. I kept saying, when they meet a well-oiled midfield, they would struggle. And this game has proven that, because Siri, for me, has been the discovery of the tournament, my personal discovery.
Well, it looks like from the feedback I'm seeing on my social media, Simon Adingra has completely taken Ola Aina to the cleanest all second half, because apparently it's been happening all game, and a lot of people seem shocked that Aina has not been taken off. Dennis, I don't know if you had the same sentiments as Sedi coming into the final.
Yes, to be honest, I was behind Ivory Coast. Not because I just felt that they had done enough. If you look at the stories, how they started the tournament, how they nearly came out and got in and was able to turn their tournament around. Even beyond that, Sebastian Haller, the story he has had coming back from cancer and coming to this tournament and scoring goals and all of these stories, you know, it should have a happy ending for me. So, but going into the game, I felt that it was going to be two tactical minds. I knew Nigeria were going to play like they always did. They were going to be very pragmatic, like they are doing. But the question was, as he said, the question was always about how Iwobi and Onyeka were going to cope with the likes of
Fofana Serie.
That midfield was going to be a problem for them. And they've struggled in the first half. You watched, even though they scored in the first half, I felt that they struggled in that department of the game. So it was always about how Jose Pesero was going to find a way to outwit Cote d'Ivoire in this game. But, you know, credit to Faye. I just feel he has found a very nice way to manage his team. Okay. He has, because you see, I've seen some of the changes he's made. You see how he took out Sangari at a point and brought in Seri, and that's been a major revelation for me, because Sangari got injured and it's not like he wasn't playing. It wasn't like he was playing badly.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't playing badly, but got injured, and Seri comes in and that's well. But you see, you need to give credit to the managers when they make these kind of decisions, because you see, it could have been easy for him to have just brought Sangari back because of the fact that but he realized that the young man comes in, does a good job, and he keeps in there. And I think that's what happened in this game. For Nigeria, I just feel that they're not being innovative in this game. When you watch how they are playing, just the same old Nigeria trying to be pragmatic, trying to make use of the counter-attacks. But I think
if it's not broken, why are you trying to fix it?
Exactly,
It has gotten you through all the stages.
But you see, I think what Faye has done is he has realized that, and given that he has managed to give that press where they are being pressed into their box, and you realize that Nigeria is not having time to even have the counter-attack. Even the ball is not even getting to Osimhen for him to make a run. But there was one thing I realized. I realized that Posel decided to make a change. He took out Moses Simon and brought in Chukwueze to start this game. And I was a bit surprised, because I thought that as much as Simon could have been, you could say he was profligate at the point.
Simon's had a wonderful tournament. He's had a very decent tournament alongside Lukman and Osimhen.
Exactly. And the last time I was saying that, you watch, it's not just about the fact that he has made good runs. He's managed to even track back. You know, his energy levels have been high. So I don't know why that tweak came up. I don't know whether for injuries. I've not heard any story about him being injured. But I think I think that change wasn't really necessary. So all these things are playing in the favor of the Ivorians. I think they are detecting play. If you watch Simon Adingra, he's just taking charge of the game and actually imposing themselves on Nigeria. And our own Sanusi, being wasteful in his crosses as usual. In the first half, he had two decent chances to get a ball into the box, and he just wasted it. So it's looking awkward at this moment until something drastic changes. I think that the Ivorians are taking charge of the final.
Well, Cote d'Ivoire taking charge of the final there, 2-1. It's 89 minutes played in the game. So until some miracle happens, and a lot of miracles have happened in this competition, Nigeria would have lost the AFCON final. Let's get to Europe and get to some highlights from there. Let's get to that game between Manchester City and Everton Football Club. Everton played a really good first half. We all thought that they were going to perhaps spring an upset, but that was not to be. Manchester City introduced De Bruyne into the game, and the rest is history. So Manchester City proving too strong for Everton Football Club. Citi, have Man City hit that gear where if you are in the title race and you drop a point, you are probably done for?
I think they have started the engine and the gear is about to click. The next game would show.
Yeah.
Because for consecutive matches, you've had a situation where De Bruyne is like the additional salt needed in the whole equation. Moment is sprinkled on top of the dish, it goes haywire. I think we are about to get into the big time for the EPL. Now that the league at the top has been cut to 2, and we are about to get now into serious business. Kevin De Bruyne is back. People who are
AFCON is winding up. The Asian Cup has finished as well. So everybody who had players who had left have all their players coming back.
And now we have the telepathy also coming back. You hear Haaland saying that he has watched Kevin De Bruyne for 5 years and he constantly puts the ball in the same place. And I ask myself, how did we miss this? That means there's something there that they have cooked over time. And it's time for us to see it, frankly speaking. If the other teams that wanted to win this league have not pulled away by now, then now is the time that they need to accept that they've lost the league.
They had the opportunities. I mean, Liverpool, Arsenal had chances to at least go 3, 4, 5 points clear, draw here, defeat there. Some way, somehow, City, with a game in hand, could go top of the table again.
You see, there's a reason why I went for Man City when I was asked was going to win the league title. Because, you see, I'm pretty much disappointed with Liverpool and Arsenal because I just felt that there were times where City were in trouble. And I thought they had a few injuries. They're not really playing to their height. But you see, the thing about City is that they've managed to win games when they've not been playing well. They've managed to win games where their top players have been injured. They have a very deep team. So even when there are injuries, they're able to surmount that and still win games. And those are the things that make me feel that they are still favorites for this title. Because I just felt that Liverpool and Arsenal should have had more points if they really wanted to win this title. Because I think Arsenal had games where I expected them to do much better. Liverpool had games where I expected them to do much better. But the thing about this City team is it's a machine. And the moment they come back together, because at this point, I think there's nobody injured. All the big gangs are back. You can see what is happening because what they did to Everton is Everton actually stayed in the game. They were not bad.
They played first half was pretty decent.
But you see, it's just the feature of a very experienced and mature team. They find a way to stay in the game, and just when the space comes, they just exploit you. And that's what they did. I think that they were just waiting, being patient for the right moment. And then when Kevin gave the ball to Haaland at that moment, he finished it off. And I expect more of those to be happening. So at this moment, I think that they seem to be the better team. They seem to be the best in the league. And for me, they still remain favorites for the title.
Manchester City still remain favorites for the title. It hasn't ended yet, but I'm here to tell you that Côte d'Ivoire are like 60 seconds away from being AFCON champions. They are like 60 seconds away from being AFCON champions. Let's get to more Premier League stuff. Let's get to back-to-back highlights now. Let's check out the games between Liverpool and Burnley and also Tottenham versus Brighton. So back-to-back highlights will come in studio and discuss. So before we even get to that Premier League stuff, I want to tell you that Côte d'Ivoire are champions of the African Cup of Nations. 2-1 is how they have done this. So congratulations to Ivory Coast. They've hosted it. It was a turbulent tournament, but they've won it. So that's how it's broken down. Guys, let's have a take on that one before we even get to the Premier League stuff. Côte d'Ivoire are champions.
No one saw this coming, but hey, congratulations to them. They did things that were needed at the right times in the tournament to get to where they are. And I would like to say they just deserve it. They should enjoy. We know that there's going to be an orange cloud in Abidjan.
I should have been in Abidjan by now, man. Dennis, quick thoughts on that.
You know, for me, I think that at least we are still the fact that the noise pollution will not be too much.
World peace has been guaranteed.
At least let's guarantee that you have some peace of mind. from the Nigerians. So for me, I just said they deserve it. I couldn't find it from how their story began, how difficult it was for them to have that kind of start. You know, sacking their coach, coming in. Fair has done a great job. I think it's a big advertisement for another African coach to win the title. It's great. It tells you that if you have your house in order and there's a system that is working and you call the right players and you make the right decisions and your decisions are not influenced by somebody at the back and the right decisions, the right calls are made all the time, you get your results. So I watched him. I saw how he managed this team and how he pushed the team from the beginning to where they are now. I think he's done a great job. I think I'm personally happy for Sebastian Haller. I think he has had a difficult time. You know, coming to win his AFCON is great. It's great reward for resilience because it was such a difficult time for him through his the situation with the cancer and how the team has played. So I think kudos to them. They deserve it. They played well. They dominated this game. You know, showed Nigeria that they were a better team and they were rewarded. So I think that kudos for what they have done.
Well, we have a reporter at the Ivorian ambassador's residence. There's a viewing party there. We're trying to see if we can connect with him. So we'll just be trying that in between. So as soon as we get to him, we'll try and just get a feel of the atmosphere on the ground at the ambassador's residence. It must be one of jubilation and of celebration because Cote d'Ivoire really have worked hard to get here. But let me take your thoughts on the games we witnessed, Citi. Let's start off with the Liverpool game. Liverpool, again, one of those teams that have managed to some way, somehow throw away their advantage getting to this point. Yesterday, though, it was a bit shaky. It became 1-1 at a point before they managed to take control of the game. What's impressed you the most about the Liverpool without Salah? They've had to navigate this whole stretch of the AFCON without him. A lot of people thought it might spell doom. Some way, somehow, it's almost over. They're almost at that point.
Well, for me, it's that mix, and the right way they have found the mix is what keeps impressing me about this team. While Salah was away, club decides to announce to the world that I'm not doing this again. I'm tired. I need to go rest. Then the whole team decides that they are on a celebration tour to bid farewell to club. But finding the right mix up front, where the goals would come from, where the creativity would come from, has been one thing that I've been so impressed about. Diego Jota has been that man. He has been like, I wouldn't want to say a Firmino or 2.0 kind of thing, because he's that guy that you know he's going to score, but you don't know how he's going to score. And he would definitely find a way to score. But I feel Gakpo could have equally done better if he had his own chances and had taken them in this team. I don't feel he has taken his chances, and hence he being kind of frozen to the bench a bit.
He's had to come off the bench.
And Jota has taken that chance, Luis Diaz, and then as well as my main man up top, Darwin Nunez. For me, he has come into his own right this season. Last season was one that he would like to forget in a hurry, but this season he has come into his own right. And without Salah, they are playing a different kind of football. In as much as they are pressing hard, they are not using the right outlet like everybody thinks they would go to Salah to create something for them. Now creativity is kind of sprinkled across the team, and they are pulling themselves to get results across the line. And for me, it's been impressive, barring that odd result at the Emirates.
But not to catch you, I love Darwin Nunez. I like the guy's personality. You know, he's coming for a lot of criticism, but when I see the guy, you realize that he misses 20 chances, he's back into the box, he's trying to score again. He has this kind of mental...
He doesn't care about how many chances he's missed.
Trust me. And I like that because you see, that's how can get better, because there are strikers that will miss chances and start hiding. They don't want to get into the box anymore. They don't want to try to score anymore. But he gets in there 1,000 times, keeps on trying hard to get the goals.
Even when he's not scoring, he finds other ways to contribute to the play.
And he's always racing, trying to fight. I love his mindset. I think he'll get better. And then when he starts scoring and becomes ruthless in front of goal, trust me, that guy will be a gem.
Darwin Nunez coming in for some praise. They like Dennis is saying, look, he has so much to his game. Yeah. When the goals are not coming, I don't know. He hits the post. He hits the post a lot of times, but typically Nunez is the kind of guy who you can trust as a manager to go out there to do a job for you. And so he is one of those guys who, during the absence of Mohamed Salah, has actually stood up and been counted. So I'm sure Liverpool are happy to have him in the mix. Let's get to that other game that we witnessed, Tottenham Hotspur winning literally right at the death. It was that 96th minute. Yeah. Son cut back, and then Brennan Johnson was there to finish. But if you watch the game, Brighton really should have themselves to blame. What's going on with Brighton? Let me start with you this time on that one, Dennis, because De Zerbi was everybody's darling boy. Brighton was everybody's darling team, winning all kinds of games. Now it's almost 4 wins in like 20 matches or 5 wins in 20 matches, something sketchy like that. The numbers are not looking good at all.
I think for me, they're still playing well. I just feel that, you know, when you have a team that has a style of playing football, and they seem to be a very possessive side, you know, they try to pass the ball around. Yeah. They become a bit predictable. And I think teams try to have, what they try to do is to give them the low block and play on the counter. And you realize that sometimes if you don't have that kind of player up front that will be able to engineer something creative, then you realize that you would pass the ball around, will not actually get a cutting edge. Because I realize that most of the games you watch Welbeck, you could see that as much as he tries to, you know, create something, he's not able to do that because there's a shield. There's more of a shield created by the opposition team, and that is something they are finding hard to go past. So I just feel that as much as they are trying so hard to get in there, it's become more and more difficult, but I think they become a little more predictable.
Somebody was telling me that they try to be too perfect. Like they don't play with any ruggedness. They try to play the perfect passing game, the perfect offensive game, and Billy Gilmore and Baleba in the middle of the park or Henselwood can be a little soft. I mean, when you are going up against like your typical Premier League midfield.
Because if you realize, whenever they meet on position that is very physical, they struggle a bit. Because you see,
and that's like 50% of Premier League teams.
Exactly. So there are games that you that's why I always say that it's all about finding balance. You know, no matter all coaches have philosophy. Every team has a way of playing. Yeah. You see that you are trying to be a possessive side or not. But in a league when you want results, sometimes when you go to certain places, you just have to
go against your philosophy.
Exactly, go against the philosophy and just find a way to win games. You don't necessarily have to always play this carousel football, trying to possess the ball a lot of times and try to get, you know, behind. So I think you just have to find a different way of winning games sometimes. I like what they are doing because they have a lot of young players there who are still growing. That's something you forget because you see, a lot of players are not playing their full potential yet. So I think we need them to credit them for that because they are still learning on the trade and they are still gaining points. It's not like they are in the second half of the league. They are still in the first half of the league table. So I think it's just normal that they're having, you know, rough patches. I think they'll get better. I don't think there's a problem for Brighton.
Let me stay with you. Talk to me about Spurs and Postecoglou. Yesterday, Son's, I mean, he just came back from the Asian Cup and we saw how immense he is for the team. That cutback was perfection. I mean, I saw the counter attack and I said, if they can get the perfect cut across the face of goal, this will end up in the back of the net. I didn't think they would do it, but Son managed it. How key is he for them? I mean,
trust me, he's their best player. You know, I've been a fan. I've been a big Son fan for a very long time because I think he's one of the most efficient footballers you can have on the pitch. No fancy flex. He just does the very basic things. And you watch Spurs in recent games, even though they have won the game, you realize that they've been lacking something up front because, you know, Richarlison is not the most prolific striker you'll find. You know, Bissouma wasn't there. They were not really being creative.
James Maddison would score a while. He scored a couple and then he gets injured.
And he himself got injured.
He's very injury prone.
Exactly. So Son guarantees you 80% of the games because he's always there. So he was actually a huge miss, and I feel that, you know, when he was coming on in the game, you could actually feel that something was about to change because even when you saw him coming on, you could see how the fans, you know, got very happy when he was coming. And trust me, that run, that pass, he makes it look so simple, but to get the accuracy right for Brennan Johnson just to tap into the net, it shows you the quality of the player. And I'm telling you that I sometimes wonder why he still plays for Spurs. Because when he can walk into any of those big teams in Europe, he's that efficient because he guarantees you goals, guarantees you assists, gives you anything a foreign player should give you. Yeah. So I think it's big for them that he's back.
I think Spurs will resist selling Son. especially after selling Kane not too long ago. Unless they say that they are probably hitting a full rebuild, I don't see how they sell him. And I don't think he's the kind of player who also go for cheap.
No.
Because, I mean, he's almost 30 years. I think he's just about 30 years now. But again, he will not go for cheap.
But you see, you could also just feel that if he has to make a move, I think it's just around this time he has to make the move because he's almost 30.
That's what it is. Yeah. If he's going to leave Spurs, this is just about the perfect time. Sadi, just quick thoughts on Spurs before we move on. We'll have our first break.
Well, for Spurs, I would say they are back with their late winners again. We had this in the early part of the season where they would literally just, the last kick of a game is a goal for them. Credit to them, since the only way they know how to play football is the Ange way. They should take a cue from Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton and Hove Albion last season, because of De Zerbi's new stance to the league, no one was able to figure them out. Now everybody has figured them out. Once Ange gets figured out, I want to see what's next is up his sleeves. Aside that, I would like to call him a one-trick pony, like what De Zerbi is showing to us. De Zerbi is so predictable to the point that you even know the pressure points that lead to a press. When they pass the ball from the back, a defender is supposed to put a stud on the ball, and that means that a DM is supposed to move in a certain direction, pulling certain people away. It's too scientific. And that's what Ange is also doing. He is now pushing his players up, whether he has 9 men, 8 men, 11 men, he's going to keep the high line. Which for him will be very problematic in certain games. But hey, credit to them. They've got their man back and he's on a good stead to fire them some more goals. So good for them for the time being.
Good for them for the time being. They are back in the top 4 as it stands. Also worth noting is that Tariq Lamptey, has played more games. He started this game with Brighton. He played at right back where he likes to play. Last game he was at left wing back. So good to see Tariq Lamptey back in the mix. Let's take a quick break here. When we come, we have more highlights for you. So stay with us on Scorecard. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Let's now go to the residence of the Ivorian ambassador and talk to Citi sports reporter Bernard Osei, who has been observing proceedings. I'm guessing it is sort of a jamboree out there. It's jubilation and euphoria out there. Ebo, I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, Benjamin, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, Ben, I can hear you.
Hello? Hi, Bernard Desai is on the line. Bernard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Benjamin.
Good. So talk to us. You've been at the ambassador's residence observing this particular game. What is the mood out there like now? What exactly is going down?
Bruh, see, it's joy, it's excitement, it's all dancing and kudimato. You just have to be here to witness it for yourself. And I'm just here, just imagining how it's going to be like in Ivory Coast. Because if at the residence of the ambassador is this fan, bruh, I can't imagine what's going on in Abidjan and Yamoussoukro and Korogwe and all of those places.
Who exactly has been there to watch the game? I mean, we know that it was a selected group of people for the viewing party. Who exactly are these people who were selected? What's the crowd composed of?
So it's basically an open roadshow for the Ivorians who are living in Ghana. And the Ivorian ambassador invited some dignitaries. So I can see from the beginning of the show that there were some Indians and some Namibians here to throw their weight behind the Ivorian national team. So basically every Ivorian living in Ghana was invited, and some dignitaries from some other countries, India and Namibia specifically. That's what I saw.
Now, talk to us about the celebrations ongoing there now. Does it look like something that's a short term, or it looks like the people want to party deep into the night?
Look, let me give you a bit of context. So when I came here for the opening ceremony, we could only leave here at midnight. Now that we have won, I can bet my last penny we are not sleeping, even here at the residence of the ambassador. It's all joy, and it's even led by the Ivorian ambassador himself, Monsieur Aselu Tano. He's the one leading the Ivorians here in his residence. dancing and waving the flag of the Ivorian country.
Well, Bernard, let me leave you for now. It looks like there's a lot of celebration going on. We'll catch up with you a little later because it looks like things are really getting into a good groove over there. So you heard Bernard Esau say, Citi Sports reporter at the residence of the Ivorian ambassador to Ghana. It's jams out there, guys. And you can see the man.
Charlie, man is crazy because
you know,
in such instances, Charlie, you're just being carried away about how you feel about the fact that your country has won the title.
Yeah.
You know, something you've not felt ever. For some,
since 2015. And look, I say this, like, I get what Bernard is saying because he says, well, if this is what's happening at the residence, he can imagine what's happening in Abidjan because you can, look, before the games were played, right? When we used to go to the media center, there's a fun village in the media center with a stage and everything. And so as soon as the games are done, you know, the jams begin, the artists performing, there's food on the side. Yeah. So now that they've won,
it's crazy.
I think they probably have like a 2-day holiday.
Oh, 2-day holiday.
I'm serious.
And I'm sure people will be taking more numbers.
Oh yes. I've seen a couple more memes. As the games are going on, guys are making sure that their phone books are properly stocked from the tournament. So these are all little perks of the tournament. You know, football, kakra, numbers.
A bit of everything.
So that's what's going on. The guys are
blend.
The guys are having a good blend of everything there. Let's get to some other stuff. Let's watch more highlights. Let's get to that game between Arsenal and West Ham United. Ended 6-0, advantage Arsenal. Absolutely sumptuous goal from Declan Rice there. He scored some really good goals this season. He wasn't bought for the goals, and so every time he scores, it's really a bonus. And it's crazy because the people from AFTV came all the way down here to have a viewing party for this particular encounter, and what a game it was. 6-0, perfect game to have a viewing party. Yeah. Then it's quick thoughts on this one. Arsenal look like they are growing in confidence because they've lost twice to West Ham this season. This was a game they needed to win. And it was a big statement, especially also based on people saying that they over-celebrated against Liverpool. They needed to come out and make a statement for this game. Yeah, so I would say this is a proper revenge, because you know, they lost in the Carabao Cup to Arsenal in the London Stadium and went and beat them at the Emirates. So there was a lot at stake. I didn't see how Mikel Arteta would come and lose a third game. Then I think that it would have actually undermined his tactical intelligence. So I feel like they were prepared for this game, like he said. There was a lot of backlash the last time when he beat Liverpool and they were celebrating. I think there was too much noise about that. You win games, you celebrate. I didn't see where the big deal was about them celebrating, the over-celebrating. What is celebrating and what is over? Where is the balance? Where do you find? Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line? It doesn't make sense to me, to be honest. I think it was total hogwash. So for them coming to this game, took the game by the scruff of the neck, dominating the game from in the first 15 minutes, they scored 4 goals. Yeah. And to be honest, I think West Ham were terrible. For me, they should forfeit their wages probably, because no, it's true. You can't be taking this kind of money and put. It was very poor. No effort, nothing. If you watch how they considered within the first 15 minutes, it was as if there was nothing at stake. And I think as much as David Moyes should carry some of the responsibility, I think the players should also do so, because none of them came to fore. I think most of them were poor. Kudus was poor. Ketsuma was nowhere to be found. The midfield was nothing was working for them. And for us now, I'm pretty much impressed by how they played. They came into the game pressed, West Ham, because they knew, West Ham will always come with a low block. Come and defend and try to play on the counter attack. And that's the thing about Moyes. He's stuck to this style of play, and it's worked for him. But you see, there's been no plan B, because in this kind of situation, you don't have Paqueta. Paqueta has been that player who always
makes things happen
in transition. So even when you are defending and there's a low block, because of how creative he is, he's able to create chances out of nothing. And he doesn't have him. So I felt he had to change. But you see, that's the thing about Moyes. He sticks to the same game plan, the same players. I mentioned the last week that I felt he had not prepared his squad for this kind of situation, because he should have known that when he was making use of his first 11, consistently playing the same squad in the Carabao Cup, playing them in the league, playing them in the Europa League, he should have known that there'll be a time where there'll be injuries eating up your squad, and you expect people to come in and do the business. But I don't think he prepared for that because he has a young Mbama on the bench where he should be given more opportunities to that in this kind of situation he will come in. But he didn't do that. So clearly they are in a bad place right now. I don't know how they're going to come up from it. I think they need Paqueta back as quickly as possible. I don't think he would have solved this problem today, but I think that they're a different team with Lucas Paqueta, and I think that with time, hopefully he would like to have him back. But for Arsenal, I think it's good times for them. They are doing well because they need to power the pressure on Man City, and that's what they need to do, and that's what they are doing actually. So West Ham has to come back. They need Lucas back. Arsenal need to keep on doing what they are doing, and let's see what happens.
Sorry?
For me, I am shocked that they conceded some of the goals they did. Look, Arsenal have a set-piece coach. Everybody knows how they now approach set pieces. Arsenal had only, I think, 4 tall players on the pitch. You add, let's add White, Mr. Chelsea fallout man, and then you add I think there are just 4 people who are tall in that team. The rest are all quite normal height. And these 4 guys, every corner kick, prior to the first one going in, every corner kick, they'll go and pack themselves at the back of the post.
Yeah.
Once the ball is kicked, they come and mingle and cause chaos. And you, West Ham, you've seen this happen time and time again in the first half.
Yeah.
And you just kept allowing it. You'd also pack all your tall people in front. And what was going to happen in the end? They were going to definitely score a goal from it in the end. And the manner in which they started conceding the goals after the 32nd minute was bizarre. Come on. If you are a low block team, you don't concede that in that short space of time. You concede, I think, 41st, 43rd, 45th plus 2. Why? Why? You don't do that.
But I get where you're coming from, because with reference to the first goal, you could see there was an overload by Arsenal players on one side, and then you expected, and that had Gabriel and
Saliba,
all those tall guys there, and then you're expecting a place like Zuma and the tall guys, Sushek, would actually move to that side.
Wow.
But you realize that they're actually not. I don't know whether it was lack of concentration, because they were all at one side and all the Arsenal players were at the other side.
Yeah.
And they could see it was an easy goal. So, like you're saying, I understand where you're coming from. I think I think it was just lack of concentration. They were just not ready for today's game.
West Ham United playing a really bad game there. Let's get to another game that happened. Manchester United versus Aston Villa. United didn't have the easiest of games of it, but some way, somehow, they managed to get all 3 points. So Manchester United finally beginning to chain together a good series of results. Højlund also, after getting his debut Premier League goal, looks like the floodgates have opened. Now the goals are coming in. Dennis, thoughts on this United game? Always going to be tricky when you play Aston Villa and Unai Emery, but United managed to navigate it. What's working for them lately? It looks like all of a sudden nobody's complaining about injuries. Ten Hag, all has stopped.
Yeah, I think they have improved as a team. One, I think what has been paramount is the fact that they have gotten some of the injured players back. You could see that there's a bit more confidence in terms of the kind of personnel they have. You watched the game against West Ham last week, and I said that Martinez, Casemiro, all those players coming in. Luke Shaw was great. All those players make Man United look different, and that's what happens. Even in this game where they were playing a very difficult Villa side at Villa Park, which is also it's always not an easy game. Watch the first half. Villa play with a lot of intensity, and they don't. You can't sit down, you can't even relax because they're always on you, pushing hard. But I think they've managed to, find.
They barely lost any game at home.
No, they hardly lose at home, and for them to go there and win was great credit to them. But I'm saying, I just think that they found a way to win games in recent times, and it's mainly because some of those players are back, and for me that is prime because. For all the things I've heard about Casemiro, that he's having a bad season, trust me, that guy is top class. Because you see,
I didn't get all the noise about that anyway.
I think it's funny when I hear some of these things because you see, the Man United team wasn't working.
Yeah.
And naturally, when the team is not working, nobody plays well. But if you watch the West Ham game, you watch this game, you realize the kind of player he is. The number of times he steals the ball. Those are virtues that we don't have players. In this modern football, they're not a lot. For him to anticipate the ball and steal it, and try to mix it up sometimes. So having
he can get forward when the team needs him to.
Exactly, he knows when you move forward, when you have to keep the balance right. And I think Manu himself has also has been great for them.
it's been a really good stretch for him over the last 4 or 5
So there's
games.
a bit of nice mix in the midfield. And seeing Garnacho and Højlund, finding his scoring boots now is also working for them. So I think they are in a good moment. I still don't think they're actually there yet. But it's going to be a real fight for the top 4 because there are a lot of teams
up in the mix.
In that mix. So for Aston Villa, I think they're going through a bit of a rough patch because they've lost a few games. They lost to Chelsea, which shocked me. Actually, they because I didn't expect them to lose that game. But in this particular game, they played well in the first half. But I think that they were just not ruthless in front of goal because there were a lot of chances. You have to give credit to Onana as well. I think this has been his best game ever since he came to Man United. If you watch this game in both halves, he made very decisive saves, and that's what actually saved United. Because in that first half, the pressure from Aston Villa was consistent, and for him to actually make those saves and to help them to put them in the game was vital. So it was great for them. See McTominay come and score again, something he has been doing consistently. That he seems to be the one who always comes and builds United out. So I think for Ten Hag, you sit down and ask himself, should this guy should be starting games? I think let me just go with the fact that I'll bring him in the last 5 minutes, last 6 minutes.
Come and see if he can do something.
And he keeps on doing it on a consistent basis. So good game. I think at least it brings that competition in the top 4, for United to come in and let's see what has to. I think just 1 point between them and Villa now. So it's great times for Man United.
Villa have won just once in their last 5 matches. Just once. Very rough patch for them. Citi, quick thoughts on the game. United, Højlund getting his scoring boots on. I didn't think United would win at Villa Park. I thought their best would be a draw.
I was shocked by the results, especially looking at how they tore United apart in the first half. Listen, Casemiro is so important to this United team. He has positional awareness, and in the first half, his side was much more concrete than the other side. Menu had a lot of issues to deal with in the first half, and that part of the pitch was being used by Aston Villa to the max. Ramsey was having a field day. Alex Moreno was also dragging everybody and having a very good day over there. But for United, I feel they rectified those bits in the second half, and they were able to just get clutch goals. McTominay will always get you these goals because he does not play in position. He would always drag himself away. If they make that mistake and ever start McTominay, they would all turn against him.
It was happening. He was getting goals, but the goals were not getting them wins.
I remember the McFred moments.
Yeah.
He's that player who would not sit in that position. That's how come he would always be arriving late in the box. In fact, sometimes even be in the box before Højlund would be in the box. That's how weird of a player he is. But they have gotten their right gear in place at a time where they are not playing in most competitions. They should rather focus and get some of the injured players back. I don't know the issue with Shaw. Shaw was taken off and precaution. And you bring in Lindelof, who almost cost them the game. He almost cost them that play from the back sequence thing. And why would you also play him out of position? You should be able to adapt certain things to your game. But good win for them all the same. They need to get more on the board if they want to be counted as part of the big boys this time.
But I think they lack options on the left back position. I think it's a problem area for them because anytime Shaw is injured,
Malacia was supposed to come and fix that problem, but he's been injured forever. So United definitely need to look at the left-hand side. They've even had to play Wan-Bissaka and had to play players, all kinds of players there this season. Let's take a break here again on Scorecard. When we come back, we'll get to other leagues. We'll get to some stuff from the Italian Serie A, and then we'll get to the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich were up against Bayer Leverkusen. Fantastic game. Real Madrid also laid down the marker against Girona. Girona are in the La Liga title race, just in case you don't know, I'm telling you right now. So it was a really big game in La Liga. Let's take a quick turnaround. We'll come back. We'll do more highlights. Yes, so Internazionale doing the business against AS Roma. Really big game for Inter. They are trying to make sure that nobody surpasses them on top of that Serie A table. Citi, quick thoughts on that game?
I'm shocked that they did not get more because for me, I feel Inter this season have been that team that know how to grind out results and know how to get goals when it's important. For AS Roma, they had little victories after Mourinho left. They thought that it was going to be a bed of roses. They are now going to be facing reality. when you have Lukaku missing these kind of opportunities, then there's trouble. When you are struggling to put together a team to actually find a way to stand top opponents, not even beat them, just stand them, then you know you are in trouble. When you sack a coach who has been so good to your team, he has been able to use his clout to get you the players that you need to grind out certain results, and you feel he's not good enough, and you bring in a club legend. It's not ended well for a lot of club legends, in recent times. The list now is endless, and looks like De Rossi wants to join them, and he's on that trek to join them. For me, Inter look all set, especially looking around them and looking at the kind of
60
results.
points. Juventus are second. They are 53 points.
Juventus actually, for me, were never contenders in this because of something. They themselves are very inconsistent, and they tend to win games by that one goal, one odd goal, and to get a league title in Italy, you don't need to be playing Catanaccio in modern day. You need to at least be flamboyant a little bit, try and
get goals. Things have not gone well for Juventus. You know, they went to get Paul Pogba, and Paul Pogba got injured all the time. When he was back, he would get a setback, and then he eventually managed to come back. He was hit with a doping ban of some sorts. It's been very turbulent. They've had investigators on their case, so now they are very cautious about how like they need to balance every penny that they spend. They've been dark points as well. They've had to go appeal that decision. A lot going on with Juventus, but then it's just snap thoughts on that one. Inter, big statement going for them because post Mourinho, AS Roma are trying to prove a point.
No, I've maintained that Inter are favourites for this time, and I'm sure they will win it. For Roma, it's the same problems. Deja vu all the time. They can't beat the top teams, and it's not the fact that they don't put in effort, because they can't. They don't have the quality to match it. They can't. You can't play.
They can't work magic.
You can't work magic. You see, if you don't invest in your squad, and you keep on looking out very cheap loan deals and getting players that are made of plastic. Some cannot even play. I ask myself, how did they?
They ended up with Renato Sanchez.
Renato Sanchez, for Christ's sake. The guy can't stay fit for 2 weeks. He's always in the hospital, and you bring somebody like this. Dybala is their best player, but he cannot keep. Dybala cannot play 3 consecutive games. So, you know, there are so many...
Team has issues.
They have so many issues. And I think Jose was trying to just find a way to still make them, you know, win games even with all this problem. But unfortunately, they didn't see that. So, it's for Roma, it's like it's deja vu. They just they don't have the quality to match the top teams. And that is why they are actually where they are. But for Juventus, for me, I believe that they are struggling a bit because of the fact that beyond all the things you've mentioned, I also think their best players cannot be fit. Chiesa is still not got back to his best because he keeps on getting this little injuries. Vlahovic is supposed to be a top man, can also stay fit. So there are so many issues in Juventus, and I think that's the reason why I still believe that Inter will win this title, because they seem to have the biggest squad. Yeah. Even
they went out there and expanded their squad after that Champions League final defeat.
And in football, that's what it is. If you want to win titles, you need to invest in your squad. You know, for how good Man City is, for how good they are played. If they didn't spend the money they had spent, I don't see how they'll be dominating the English league. So it's about investing in your squad. And if Roma really want to compete, they'll have to invest properly. Because if they don't do that, they're going to keep on struggling.
AS Roma to invest in their squad. Let's get to Germany, and let's get to that big game. It was a top of the table clash between Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen are still unbeaten in the league. Believe it or not, they are still unbeaten. And this was a test of their title credentials. Can they topple Bayern Munich this season? Let's get to the highlights of that game. An absolute pandemonium in the stands there. Jeremy Frimpong came off the bench in this game, scored a goal, and literally ran the entire length of the pitch looking for Nathan Teller to celebrate the goal. It's absolutely amazing. Guess what? Somebody said something really funny over the weekend ahead. It says Harry Kane decided to go to Bayern, and all of a sudden, Bayern are looking like they are going to go trophyless. He said Kane might try to go to Celtic in the SPL to try and win a title, and that season, Hibernian might win the title. Guys, Xabi Alonso really doing this thing. He's really doing it.
trust me, listen, I'm blown away by this team. When I watched Bayer Leverkusen, I'm like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
I watched this team against Roma in the Europa League last season, and as much as I felt they were good, I didn't expect them to become this good. Because trust me, if you watch the way they play, the kind of effort the laterals
are the MVPs.
Like
Ronaldo is on 10 goals and 10 assists.
It doesn't make
season.
sense, for Christ's sake. You know, these are supposed to be defenders. You know, making runs, fine. You know, going for it, but to score 10 goals is crazy.
I don't know if we could get that finish again. You should see the second goal, the sequence of passes, how he entered the box. He finished the chance off like he was a striker.
and I think Bayern didn't want us to hit them, trust me, because you know, and it's not just about the lateral; it's about the intensity they play with. Because it's like they don't allow you time on the ball. They are exerting them. They're imposing themselves on you, and just watching them play. And you know, when you watch a team that believes in something, and you see what Alonso is doing, he believes in exactly what he's doing, and he's getting the results. Because to beat Bayern 3-0 it's no joke. It's no joke.
Let's. We have 3 minutes left. I'll get to the Real Madrid highlights because that's one of the best. Passes and goals of the weekend. Let's get to that. I'll get ready to wrap it up before we go. So let's get to the highlights of that Real Madrid game versus Girona. Great goals there. Vinicius Jr. absolutely putting on the show. Said you get the final word for this one. Real Madrid beating Girona, stay top of the La Liga.
Good for Madrid, good for Ancelotti. Ancelotti actually understands his players and knows how to use them. It's that straightforward. How he has managed to help Jude Bellingham transform into a complete midfielder. No longer box to box. He has just transformed.
20 goals in 29 matches.
Strikers are not even having those kind of statistics.
Ronaldo stats.
Yeah, those are Ronaldo numbers.
Yeah.
20 in 29 is a lot. Thank you very much, Sadie. Thank you very much, Dennis. And thank you all those who stayed up to watch the extended version of Scorecard with us here. I'm just here to remind you that Côte d'Ivoire are winners of the AFCON. I'll leave you with the celebrations from the ambassador's residence if we can get that rolling while we leave. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back on your screens.